Welcome back to the PewMix channel. Glock, as we know it, has come to an end. Now, they say that they're getting rid of a lot of the older models to make room for the new V series. I think we all know what it's really about, but just like during the Rona virus times when everyone was scrambling around for toilet paper, I feel like the same thing is happening with Glocks, and I am not excluded from that. So I went and got two Glocks. I have a Glock 34 and a 26. And the reason I picked out these ones in particular is because of what I want to have done to them. So I know that once we hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm sending these out to get something done to them. Some of you might see this combo and already know where I'm going with this. Some of you might not have any clue, but if you guys have a guess, drop it down in the comments down below where you guys think that these might be going out to get upgraded, full redo. But believe it or not, I have never fired a Glock in my life. That to me sounds crazy considering that I'm a gun guy. I've never actually fired a Glock. I've shot clone, the PSA dagger clone, but I've never shot a Glock itself. So we're gonna do a quick overview of these two here that I have, and then we're gonna take them out to the range and I guess get my thoughts on the first time ever firing a Glock. Glock 34. Chamber is cleared. When I first saw the top of this, I hadn't even noticed that it had this like weird slant cutout at the top. But I mean, holding it feels like a typical full-size gun. I've never liked Glocks the way they look, and I think that has a lot to do with why I never purchased one before these. These are the first two Glocks that I've ever bought, and I've also, again, never shot one, and I think it has a lot to do with the aesthetics. I think these things look like a brick. They look like a Minecraft gun. It's gonna look a lot better once we get them upgraded, but you know, not everybody likes Glocks, but I wanted to see what the hype was all about. As they're leaving now, I wanted to be sure that I had some new ones. These have never been fired before, so I'm excited to try them out. The 26, this one is extremely, like, the grip itself is small and fat at the same time. It's a really fat grip. It's a really fat grip. It's really wide, but also very small at the same time. I have enough to just grab it with the two fingers, and I have my pinky just hanging out down there. I did dry fire these already, and the trigger on the 26 here has more of an actual like wall that you hit. The 34 has a really strange trigger. So I don't really hit a wall. It's just like you hit like a weird pressure, and then it just randomly, of course it's not random, it's set to break at a certain point, but that's kind of what it feels like. It feels a lot more random compared to the Glock 26 trigger, and also compared to any other striker fired trigger that I've used before, namely my 365X Macro or the TTI Combat, Mechanics, and Smith & Wessons that I have, the FNs. They all more or less have a trigger more like the Glock 26, versus the 34 has a really different trigger in the way that it just, again, there's like take up, and it gets firmer, and then it just, there's no wall. It just kind of breaks at a random point. Again, I know it's not random, but let's take these out to the range and see if Glock is worth the hype that it's had for decades now at this point. Well, we already have a failure to feed. I guess it locked the slide back. Took the next round. I guess we'll see how we keep on. I had the same issue again. I don't know if it's me that's writing the slide release. Maybe I'm pushing it up, but we'll see through a few more mags afterwards. So I just put another magazine through the 34, and I didn't have that issue again. I think I was a little bit more aware of what it was doing, so maybe it was just my handwriting up on it. I guess we'll see as I start to put more rounds through it. All right, so now we have the Glock 26. We'll put the first rounds through this one. So a buddy of mine buys and sells storage units and the contents and stuff, but he found a bunch of miscellaneous 9mm. So we're gonna put it through the Glock 26. I have 2 magazines worth. They're hollow points, some FMJs. There are all kinds of different manufacturers. They're a little bit older, but we're gonna see if they actually cycle. We're gonna go with the second mag. So we have a shot timer set up. Not that I'm competing against anybody, but just to see what the splits are like. So we had a little bit of trigger freeze on a few of those, but we're getting pretty consistent split times of sub 0.2. I think I had 4 rounds in there under 0.2, so 0.18 for split times. Initially, when I first started shooting it, it had I wasn't used to the trigger at all, so I had to feel like I had a really long trigger pull. But the more rounds that I've started to put through it, we're probably about 200 rounds now in between this one and the Glock 26. I'll probably finish out putting 300 rounds through both of them for today, and then that'll be kind of it. But overall, it is performing well. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I think the first malfunction was for sure my fault, and the trigger is it's kind of love or hate it. I think a lot of people when they're talking about the triggers, but it feels really heavy and kind of spongy. But I mean, I'm getting relatively quick split times when I'm comparing it to something like the Canic that I'm shooting. All right, so now we have a extended mag inside of the Glock 26. We're just gonna put a few more rounds through it. So for sure, one thing that I noticed is trying to release the magazine on the 26 is a little bit more difficult because of how fat the grip is in comparison and how small the mag release is. So that's pretty much a wrap on the Glock 34 and Glock 26 review. My take on it is obviously Glocks are extremely reliable. They have the reputation for being extremely reliable. They look like an absolute brick out of Minecraft, but you can obviously customize those kinds of things to make them look better. The triggers are love them or hate them kind of thing. And honestly, I think they performed really well. I had really good split times with them. But that's pretty much it for the video. So if you guys like the video, make sure you guys comment down below also what kind of content you guys want to see. I have a lot of more ideas in the works, but comment down below what kind of content you guys like to see and make sure you're subscribed. Thank you.